once again today to actually deliver a stream of Orb on the Moons of the Earth, the anime series. And it has done that thing where it doesn't actually go live. We're good to go. So yes, today we actually are watching episode 8 of Orb on the Moons of the Earth. As episode 7 was fucking depressing. All round, very blood-boiling episode, very not nice episode. Kolbe is a very smelly man. I do not like that man at all. Don't like him at all. He's very not good. He's not good. And yeah, I mean, really the only problem I kind of had with the episode overall was kind of the production behind it. 'Cause it kind of felt a little bit, what's the word? Absent. It kind of still has the visual quirks that the show has for the whole entirety of this season. But the actual production itself sort of did wane a little bit in the episode, and it kind of they didn't bring it down too much. It just kind of it's sort of become a bit more noticeable, I guess. It's the best way to describe it. And also subsequently as well, the only other issue I kind of had with it, but it's not really an issue, depends how you look at it, is a bit with Jolenta's father. Since you can technically piece it together pretty fucking quickly, but in the manga, you have to kind of you can suspend disbelief somewhat and actually think to yourself, maybe it's not him. In the anime, it's like, well, it's him. That's kind of the only issue with it. Other than that, it's a good episode overall, I must say. Just it does sort of bring the forefront of the time period and actually make it also make us realize that it's fucking depressing. Poor Jolenta. So streaming. Come by and get comfy as we watch some more Orb. And with that, we actually are good to go. So let's actually go on to the other page. Right, that's good. That's good. That's good. Right, start this thing in 3, 2. Actually, before I do that, yeah, cool. So let's actually start this thing in 3, 2, 1. Let's start this thing absolutely now. As I said, I kind of feel like the shot of Badeni as he kind of comes in that scene, he kind of has a kind of pull-up energy in the manga. It's kind of like, oh my god, he's like stanced up. But in the animation, it's kind of like, he's just, kind of almost T-posing. I was like, man, I want to see that shot animated. It's pretty good, but the manga one's actually quite iconic. But yeah, I mean, what this actual episode, what the episode prior to this one actually did quite well was it brings the time period to the forefront essentially, and kind of does in theory tell us that it fucking sucks essentially. Like the idea of how Jolenta can't actually like publish under her own name because if she does, shit doesn't go so well, and it's one of those things that it's kind of depressing because, as we know, in the prior episodes, you don't necessarily want to mess with these people because if you do, you know what happens, kind of thing. So it's one of those things, and it kind of does then add another layer to what a conversation Jolenta has with her father, because you know who it is. You kind of get why he has a conversation with her, because if she treads too far into the realms of where she's going, you know what's going to happen. And I kind of feel like maybe there might be some more layers there with him, like in essence, like him saying what he was saying is not, it's not just one meaning essentially, it's more to it, is what I'm trying to say. I can't say words today for some reason, but it's an interesting episode overall for that reason, because it's one of those things that what this show does do, it presents obstacles for these characters, some more than others, don't get me wrong, others have it worse than say Okozi or anyone like that, but what it then does in theory do, it doesn't diminish who they are. They want to push forward beyond that kind of obstacle and actually do what they want to do and actually pursue their interests and their loves as well. And it's kind of one of those things, it's quite interesting that way as well. In essence, they don't want to necessarily just kind of fall by the wayside. I mean, it's depressing for Jolenta because she can never, like, publish under her name. but at the same time, she still pushes forward essentially. Same thing with Beneni as well. You know, the church is like, bro, by the way, if you're doing that, it's kind of bad news. It's not good, bro. He's like, fuck it, I don't care. So even then, it's depressing because she wants to like say these things she can't. Cause it's like, bro, that's kind of fucked up, ain't it? He's like, well, that's the world, isn't it, bro? It's like shit's fucked, man. And it do be like that. It do be shit's fucked. I say this episode actually overall so far, I mean, it's like five minutes in, does look a lot better, to be honest. I kind of feel like as well, like Bedeni's like way of like weaving through society itself is actually quite interesting as well. He tends to use the kind of injustices to his advantage effectively, and then he actually kind of does in theory get information out in a very unique way. He ain't he's not. I'm not saying as if he's Batman or anything like that, but he's just kind of it's just kind of got a very interesting way of doing things. So it's just like, oh shit, the fuck. Someone turned at university probably would have been a good detective, to be honest. Probably would have been a very good detective. I do love Akazi's actual kind of like entire character in his arc as well. It's kind of great. As I said, it's just quite interesting to see how he does dissect the entire thing essentially, because it's one of those things that he doesn't go at it like in the usual kind of way. He just has a very unique way of like deconstructing what's the entire thing. It's very fascinating to actually kind of see that whole entire scene play out. I wonder if we actually get the start of Pius's actual like origin story in this episode. That episode, 'cause I imagine it's probably where it might be next episode completely, because it is pretty much an episode's worth of content. I think I could be wrong actually, which kind of leads me to believe that maybe we might end the core episode on volume 4. I think. It's quite Pius is quite an interesting character as well. The idea of like how all this shit is written, but it's just like, is it actually, are we reading this the right way? It is kind of is it is interesting to see there is people that do question, even beyond just like the questioning of like the world turning and everything like that, but even the role certain characters have in this world as well. It's interesting that he's actually one of the characters that actually do in theory like, oh, thank you for the follow, thank you for the follow. They do actually question that whole entire concept. I quite like that as well, because it's one of those things that he's always been this quite formidable figure in this arc for the last two episodes, but no episode I should say. But now he's actually quite, is the correct term, down to earth? That would also be a pun as well. That'd also be a pun. I can't believe like Okoti's just there for the ride now. He's just kind of there. I just love him. He's so cool. I will say the production's still a little bit kind of hit and miss in this episode. It's better than last week's, I think. There's a bit more dynamicness to the shots. There's still a little bit of what's the word? Still a bit kind of a little bit rocky. He's like, oh shit. Shit honestly is kind of fucked though when you think about it. The entire scene kind of proves it. It's like, whoa, okay, hold up a second. I love how he just kind of goes, yeah. Just so nonchalantly about it. Actually about to hit fucking Kino next week though. Holy shit! Like next week's episode, my god. And the week after, it's gonna be like back to back fucking Kino, absolute fucking peak. Honestly, I can't fucking wait. Oh shit! I know what the Saints say variety either. I do wonder if next episode will actually will just be Pius's backstory, because there is like a section like after that, like it is like so fucking good. So I'm sort of wondering if not that actually make it an episode. Yeah, so I imagine next week's episode actually will just be Pius's backstory, can like completely, and then maybe a bit of the after bit, and then I think that's how I imagine the pacing will go. And I think then 10 to 12 will probably be like volume 4, I imagine. I guess. And then volume 5 would be core 2. God damn, we're already almost at the end of the core. I just realised that. I mean, yeah, overall, good episode. I mean, still, what I kind of am fearing mostly is the production itself. I don't really want to implode, because when this series gets going, my god, it just doesn't stop. It's just absolute breakneck when it comes to Kino. So I don't want the production to kind of falter it, because what this show had at the beginning was, it wasn't amazing. Don't get me wrong. It's not that's my standout like animation ever. But what it made up for was with the direction itself. Direction actually added a lot more to the world itself. I don't want that to falter too much, because again, the moments are so goddamn good that if it has the right like shot construction and everything like that as well, it will hit even better. So I kind of do want it to kind of come back a little bit more. It was better than last week's episode. It's still there's still blemishes here and there, but it's not like egregiously bad. But yeah, I mean, overall episode actually was just really fucking good. It still kind of goes back to this whole idea that the world itself is really fucking depressing. Like it's a very depressing world. The time period itself does have a lot of obstacles that do, in theory, impede our characters, but that at the same time does not stop any of them. I thought the subtitles just died. It doesn't really stop any of them though, and I kind of like that because again, it's one of those things that there is a lot here that could, in theory, implicate Jolenta to the point that she might, in theory, meet the same fate as Raffle did. Subsequently, also, then it does sort of implicate Badeni and Okozi. Them researching this on its own is already like treason to the church. So even and even more so with Jolenta as well. If Jolenta gets involved, it's probably even worse then because again she'd be treated as a witch. And what is interesting though is actually how every character does in theory move past that, and actually how they weave themselves into society itself. I find it to be a more interesting part of the show as well. I like that I like that Badeni does in theory have that perception about the entire world that he will use the injustice to his advantage. And it's one of those things that it kind of highlights how fucked the world is, like how he's able to utilize those things. And I'm kind of like, whoa, okay, fucking hell. it's just, it's pretty intense sometimes the shit he says. But it's one of those things that, again, the way he kind of had a conversation with Jolenta in the actual room as well was really interesting. Because, again, it's one of those things that he has a very interesting way of deconstructing and actually observing as well. And it's one of those things that I just like the entire scene for that reason because it was done in such a way that is above all else just really fucking fascinating. I would love to see him do it more because it's one of those things that it's just cool. He's a cool character. He's a cool bean. But also what I liked as well is actually how it humanizes Count Pius as well. Don't get me wrong, Count Pius is not this like technically he's a grandiose being, but you know what I mean. He's not as like he's not like God essentially. He's not like up there in like the stratosphere kind of thing. No, but he's always been this formidable character that Jolenta can't reach because of society itself and also the people that are there. But then when Pius actually speaks to her, it humanizes him because again, don't get me wrong, he does in theory highlight like the world itself and actually how fucked it is and actually what's written down and actually how it impedes her being able to actually do what she wants to do. But then at the end of it all, he kind of just says, maybe we're just not reading it right. Maybe we're reading this incorrectly, and it kind of makes it seem as if there is humanity in this world still, even though it's injust. There is injustice here. There is a sense of humanity, even from the higher people that are in this world. Like it's one of those things that it makes the entire thing even more depressing because if she did in theory say that thesis that she wrote was hers and not Kolbe's in a way, it not in a way, but it wasn't his. It was hers. There might be a different trajectory of this whole entire show, but then at the end of it all, he does in theory then say, "Well, if you write another one, show it to me instead." And I kind of like that aspect about him because it's one of those things that, again, who knows what could happen? Because again, there's this idea that there is the injustice that she could in theory be tried as a witch and subsequently killed, but at the same time I kind of feel like he wants to know more about the way that she thinks because again, he's constantly saying like, "Why aren't you at the meetings?" And it's one of those things that I kind of feel like he wants to see more of her in that kind of way. He wants to kind of like get her opinion in a way as well. And I like that aspect about his character. I feel like it kind of humanizes him because again, he's always been this unreachable figure in this whole entire show to Jolenta, but that kind of in theory put them on the same kind of playing field in a way. There's no distance between them because what the show has done quite well as well is highlighted the distance between her and her goals essentially, and it even does it in such a way that in a visual way as well. Because in the last episode, you had like platforms and she was on one, and then Kolbe and everyone else was on the other one over there. But then in this episode, you had Count Pius and her on the same level, and it's one of those things that does actually highlight that there is no one above anyone else. Everyone's on the equal level, but again, the injustice as well, the injustice of society itself doesn't allow her to kind of be on that level because just society fucking sucks, basically. And yeah, I mean, I can't wait for the rest of this corn out, because this is actually when it goes into full scale, absolute peak fiction territory, and it doesn't fucking stop. And I mean, I want to see how they adapt it. I want to see where it goes, and actually how they go about the last last volume I read, which is volume 4, I think. I can't wait to see how they do it. So yeah, I can't say words. My throat's just throat was stopping. Goddamn. I was trying to say, like, I can't wait to see how they adapt it, and actually how they go about adapting it, and actually subsequently then how they show the rest of volume 4, because it's just non-stop absolute peak. So yeah, that is me done for today. So as always, if you have enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole on Twitch, then as always, do leave a follow on Twitch, because you actually watch these streams live. If you have then enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole on YouTube, and as always, then do in theory leave a like, and also leave a sub as well. Both do help quite a lot. If you have then enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole on YouTube, and as always, do leave a follow on Twitter. Helps quite a bit. Also, actually will then know when these streams are live, and any other streams I may do as well. Orb's actual manga series will be returning this week as well. Sorry, I was a bit absent this week. I had a really bad week. So hopefully now I can get back on and actually read the manga a bit more consistently, but not consistently enough that I will actually finish it quickly, but consistently enough that I just don't magically disappear for an entire month. And yeah, I mean, Usuguri also returned as well. And maybe some other ones as well, who knows. Until then, I'll see you guys later. Bye for now.